Max Zepeda with the Walter Cronkite Sports Network here in Frisco at the Star for Big 12 Football Media Days alongside Arizona State Athletic Director Graham Rossini. Graham, this is our outlet's first time getting the chance to speak with you. You've done a lot of talking the last couple of weeks, so we really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Max. Happy to be with you.
And first of all, let's lead off with the big news, obviously. The Big 12 Commissioner's Cup. It's a very brand new award. It's not only encompassing athletics, but also academics. What do you feel like this necessarily means, not only to your athletic program, but really just the entire university as a whole?
Yeah, I'm really proud that we were named the winner of the first ever Commissioner's Cup. And like you mentioned, it not only factors in athletic performance, we won four Big 12 titles, the most in the conference, but also looks at our academic performance, our graduation success rate, our community engagement, et cetera. And so it's a great testament that we're well on our way. First year in the Big 12 to win the award is a great validation of the work that our team's putting in. I'm super proud of our coaches, our athletes, our administration, and our overall university community, because it reaffirms that we're on our way. We've made the right decision for alignment. We've made the right decision on where we're kind of prioritizing our focus at ASU, and people are starting to notice.
And letting alone winning those four Big 12 titles in your first year in the league. So kind of approaching that, especially entering this year, it seems at least that the excitement surrounding not only fans but also boosters, it seems, is very much at least pushing for it. What have your conversations been like, at least with not only boosters but people who have at least been fans and are part of the Sun Devil Collective and everything like that? How has their energy been like over the course of this summer, and what have your conversations at least been like with them as we prepare for another academic year?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for our fan base, our donors, our corporate partners. They're the reason that we're able to have the success that we're having. Every dollar that we make, we're reinvesting it into our athletes, and the cost of doing business is changing as we go into a house settlement and the rev share, and the cost of doing business is just accelerating on us. And so we've got to be building a better game day. We've got to be engaging our fan base. We've got to be earning the trust and confidence of our donors and our partners, and that's starting to happen. And so it's really exciting to just be in conversations where people say it feels good to feel good. There's optimism, there's energy, and more importantly, there's resources coming in that we're able to reinvest into what we're doing. And so we're at 96% renewal on our football season tickets. That's an incredible rate. We're about 7,500 new season tickets sold for the fall and football. Really important, because these are the resources that allow us to hire, entertain great coaches, keep that continuity in place, and go lead at a high level for the athletes that are counting on us.
And I would imagine that this revenue sharing new world that we live in, and when it comes to college sports, is very much personal for you, considering that Grant House was very much at least in the center of the settlement that was reached just within the last couple of weeks. Obviously, you've addressed it a lot, what this new platform is going to necessarily look like, what revenue sharing is going to at least look like, or at least originally. But this PayPal partnership that the Big 12 is doing is probably going to at least push that. Can you just describe how involved you were, at least from being in leadership, how involved you were at least in that process and the decision-making, and what that's going to look like, at least for athletes, at least in the immediate?
Yeah, I think the PayPal partnership with the Big 12 is a great step forward in terms of just unifying the way that the athletes are going to navigate this new environment. And so it was a conversation that the commissioner led, his team negotiated. It's a conference partnership. It's not an ASU relationship, but it's a tool that we'll have access to use, it helps standardize the process. And that's something that our athletes that are earning in this new environment through RevShare, it's a tool that they're already used to using, PayPal or Venmo. It's the same company, and it's a way to integrate with the systems that we're using as part of this new environment, the LBI, the NIL Go, et cetera. And so it just allows us to operate on a unified playing field within the Big 12. There's obviously financial resources that enter the conversation. They're going to be using a lot of our athletes in NIL and ways to kind of give them exposure and the benefit that comes from that. And so it's a great relationship. We're very thankful for the commissioner for negotiating that, and it's nice to have the Big 12 taking a leading voice in this new environment.
In response to that, you are very much in the central decision-making of where that $20.5 million goes, and very much, at least when it comes to that, obviously football is going to be front and center, but at the same time, you've tried to at least push not only the importance of not only the other sports, but specifically the Olympic sports, and keeping their value, considering their success last year on the field and on the court and wherever. So what necessarily is that going to be like navigating in this first year, considering this is just so unprecedented, and you're really going to be the one front and center to be the one making those decisions?
Yeah, we've got obviously a large focus on football and basketball. They're the ones that are going to get a large majority of the rev share dollars moving forward. There's a handful of other sports that'll get access to smaller amounts, and it'll be kind of a fluid conversation. We looked across the landscape of the sports that allow us to kind of commercially grow and create resources. The most are the ones that are going to be the benefactor of that. And we'll see. It's something that we can adjust year to year. We can be mindful of new opportunities around us, but the focus is obviously going to be on football and basketball.
It's obviously no surprise that there is a conversation surrounding the Big 12 preseason media poll no longer existing. And Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark addressed originally in his comments that Arizona State, he felt like, was tarnished because of last year's preseason media poll. Is that something that you'd agreed upon? And do you feel like that there was a unanimous agreement between the athletic directors and the coaches on, yeah, this is in the past, this is a phase we need to move on from, or was it a difficult decision?
Not a difficult decision at all. I mean, we believe that we want to start the season with every 16 fan bases thinking that there's a chance to compete at a high level. And last year was a good example of we were picked last, so we started 16th. We weren't on anybody's radar despite the progression in our season. And it wasn't until around Thanksgiving time that the nation was starting to pay attention to what was happening in Tempe. I do think that hurt us kind of as we were getting into that late push and the CFP rankings were coming out, and they weren't factoring in where we started as much as the progression that we had taken on as of late. And so we just felt like, look, we're trying to build the brand of the Big 12. We want all 16 universities and fan bases to be supportive and energized going into the season. And when you start picked 15th or 16th, there's that natural skepticism of, are we going to be any good? Do we want to support this team? Are we just going to wait till next year? And I think that's kind of unhealthy and unproductive in what we're trying to accomplish.
And in many ways, Kenny Dillingham was very much responsible in trying to not only silence that noise when it came to the preseason poll last year, but at the same time, trying to bring the positive energy of what this program can become going forward. You've obviously seen it firsthand of how he's not only grown to not only be the ambassador for the football program, but really the entire athletic department as a whole. How has it been, at least for you, as someone who is kind of the overseeing from the business side of things, and how he's kind of progressed into a different role where not only is he leading his own program, but at the same time, he's trying to be an ambassador for all the other sports on campus?
Yeah, he's a great ambassador for ASU, and we're both Sun Devils, so we share that love of our school because we've experienced it firsthand. And so we've got a number of that going on. We've got 9 head coaches who are alums. We've got a number of alums that are administrators in our department. We've also got coaches that are choosing to come to ASU because they're seeing what we're capable of accomplishing here at this incredible school. And so Kenny sets the tone. He's a big energy. He's consistent. He's the same way he is on the sidelines as he is in the office. And he's big on culture. He's big on collaboration. And he's really taken a leading voice in our head coach's room. And they're collaborating. They're sharing notes. They're challenging each other in ways that are really healthy and productive. And so what an asset to our community, what an asset to ASU, and just thankful to go to work with them every day.
Just a couple questions outside of football before we circle back and wrap this up here. Starting off, though, with the news you broke a couple of weeks ago involving Desert Financial Arena and the possible renovation projects. You said that this summer is very much now, you feel like that there is now a plan in place and that it's going to be a multi-year plan, at least when it comes to that renovation process. What has been the behind-the-scenes discussions been like? How and necessarily slow or fast has it been? And do you feel like that whatever project that you put out to the general public is something the fans are going to really appreciate and feel like that this is a good way to preserve this building that's been around for nearly 5 decades?
Yeah, I'm excited to share more specifics when we can. I was in a meeting yesterday for a couple hours on the project. We're on it often. We have a number of people at ASU, even beyond athletics, that are assisting in that process. I'm excited about what we're doing. And I'm also excited that we've done a lot in the last year behind the scenes that people may not understand or appreciate until we kind of see the end result. But I'm a big believer on a game day. I've been very vocal about fan experience matters. That building is an asset, but it's capable of a lot more. And so we've got a phase 1 announcement that we'll make at some point before the basketball season. It's a very substantial investment into the building as soon as next summer. There's other phases that we're designing and really understanding what we're capable of accomplishing there, but it's got to improve. And it's been 50 years, as you mentioned, since that building opened. It's been largely untouched since then, but a lot of time and energy going on behind the scenes. It's almost like kind of a duck above the water where it might be kind of calm and quiet above the water. Below, there's a lot of legs kicking, a lot of people touching this to make sure that we've got a great renovation project to a building that's important to ASU.
Certainly will be interesting to pay attention to moving forward, but quickly hinting on a sport that's very close to your heart. Of course, Arizona State baseball recently just finished their run of the NCAA tournament. First run in 5 years for the program and the first one in the Willie Bloomquist era. But more importantly, a surprising move, at least when it comes to slightly similar to where we are right now, the Big 12 Conference moving their baseball tournament to Surprise starting next year. How involved maybe were you, or maybe Arizona at least, involved with that decision? And is that something that you're personally excited about, to get the entire conference now to celebrate the sport that you grew up with and really much now is at least going to bring the entire conference and have Arizona be the center of the sport now going forward come the postseason?
Yeah, really excited about the direction of baseball. Coach Bloomquist is really starting to come to his own as a recruiter and a program leader. Had a really successful summer in the transfer portal. We've added 34 scholarships to baseball from 11.7. We're competing with a lot of SEC schools, ACC schools that have had recent success. We've got elite talent that's coming back home to Arizona. And so I'm very excited about the direction of our baseball program. As far as the Big 12 Conference Tournament, we were very involved with Scott Draper, the Chief Competition Officer, Commissioner Yormark and his team in evaluating why Arizona could be a great fit. We saw that with the Pac-12 tournament at Scottsdale Stadium. I think there's a number of venues in the Valley that are a great fit for the tournament. Obviously, access to fields is most important because you're running 3 or 4 games a day. So it's not just the game in the stadium, it's about the other games that are happening and making sure that teams that are playing for a championship have a backfield and batting cages and locker rooms and infrastructure to really get ready. It's harder to do in a major league stadium. You also lose that energy in a 50,000 seat stadium that you can really create in a 10 to 15,000 seat spring training venue. Obviously, shade and elements are important. A number of the spring training venues in Phoenix have, shade awnings or misters or cooling systems that are going to make a better fan experience than what we experienced at Scottsdale Stadium. So, yeah, I'm excited. We were great collaborators with it. I like the fact that they're looking at Phoenix as kind of the baseball capital of the country, which we know it is. And so can't wait to welcome that event to the Valley next spring, and hopefully it stays there for a long time.
And last thing for you, kind of to circle back at least to football, your job is going to be not only very, very busy come next month with managing this program, but also with expectations around sports like volleyball, who are coming off of a conference title, amongst others. Going into this kind of new era of college sports and feeling that this is very much at least going to be kind of a new transition, but at least for you, you feel like that this is something that you and your staff are completely prepared for. What do you feel like at least events like this, at least preparing and at least giving at least the talking season, at least a portion of it, and having that have attention? What do you feel like events like this and others to try to necessarily build up your attention for your program? What do you feel like it does to your entire athletic department as a whole? And what do you feel like the expectations should be, at least for you and your staff, as you guys now are about to enter yet another busy season as we about to begin another year?
Well, it's a fun day today when everyone wants to talk to us. We walk in the room as the defending champions and the Commissioner Cup winner, and everybody wants to understand what's going on at ASU. And so it's a great chance to talk about our incredible team that's hard at work right now every single day, trying to make this progression, trying to continue to build a better game day, trying to be more mindful of feedback from our fans as we make decisions. And it just shines a really important spotlight on what we're doing. And the work will never be done. I don't think we'll ever look back and say, like, we've done it, we've arrived. I always want to be showing progression. I always want to be looking for the next opportunity for us as a department, as a part of ASU, to continue to grow and thrive and find ways to connect people to our valley, our university, our sports teams, and everything in between. And so it's just fun to have the spotlight and the opportunity to talk about the good and hard work that our team is very much underway on, but also the reality that we're not done. And we've got our eyes set on a lot more. We're not complacent. We're not happy that we've had one okay year in the Big 12. We're looking at what else we can do. We had 4 teams that finished runner-ups. What can we do to help them find an advantage or a resource that helps them go win the Big 12 next year? And we eight of them finished first or second. We've got a number of others that we want to continue to find that progression and find the tools, the tricks, the tips, the resources, the people that help them continue to grow and connect and build fans and build world-class athletes.
Obviously, it will be very intriguing to see, is obviously they're going to be expected to be probably above 50,000 in Mountain America Stadium on August 30th when Northern Arizona walks in to face the Sun Devils. Graham Rossini, the Director of Athletics for Arizona State. Max Zepeda for Cronkite Sports, signing off here in Frisco.